Hi everybody. Today we are broadcasting from the Chuckwalla Trail here in southern Utah. Today's topic, what's the deal with Jephthah the Gilead? Hey everybody, I'm filming today from Chuckwalla Trail in southern Utah, where we'll be tackling a really hard story to understand. Now I'm going to title this one, What's the Deal with Jephthah the Gilead, making his daughter a burnt sacrifice? What? No way, you're saying. Wait. This guy, Jephthah, makes a horrible, tragic vow to God that requires him to make a burnt sacrifice of his only child. Picture this. Dad comes home from the war, tells his daughter, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is you're invited to a barbecue. The bad news is you're it. What in the world was he possibly thinking? But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's go ahead and read that chapter. Judges 11, 1 through 40. Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty warrior. His father was Gilead, but his mother was a prostitute. Gilead's wife also bore him other sons. When they were grown up, they drove Jephthah away. You're not going to get any of the inheritance from our family, they said, because you're the son of another woman. So Jephthah, he fled from his brothers, and he settled in the land of Tob, where a gang of scoundrels gathered around him and followed him. Sometime later, when the Ammonites were fighting against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to get Jephthah. Come, they said, be our commander so we can fight the Ammonites. Jephthah said to them, didn't you hate me and drive me from my father's house? Why do you come to me now, when you're in trouble? The elders of Gilead said to him, nevertheless, we are turning to you now. Come with us, fight the Ammonites, and you will be the head over all of us who live in Gilead. So Jephthah answered, suppose you take me back to fight these Ammonites, and the Lord gives them to me. Will I really be your head? And the elders of Gilead replied, the Lord is our witness. We will certainly do as we say. So Jephthah went with the elders to Gilead, and the people made him head and commander over them. And he repeated all his words before the Lord in Mizpah. Then Jephthah sent messengers to the Ammonite king, and the question, what do you have against me that you have attacked my country? The king of the Ammonites answered Jephthah's messages. When Israel came out of Egypt, they took away my land from Arnon to the Jabbok, all the way to the Jordan. Now give it back peaceably. Jephthah sent back messengers to the Ammonites, saying, this is what Jephthah says. Israel did not take the land from Moab or the land from the Ammonites, but when they came up out of Egypt, Israel went through the wilderness to the Red Sea and then on to Kadesh. Then Israel sent messengers to the king of Edom, saying, give us permission to go through your country. But the king of Edom, he wouldn't listen. They sent also to the king of Moab, and he refused. So Israel stayed in Kadesh. Next they traveled through the wilderness, skirted the lands of Edom and Moab, passed along the eastern side of the country of Moab, and camped on the other side of the Arnon. They did not enter the territory of Moab, for the Arnon was the border. When Israel sent messengers to Shiloh, king of the Ammonites, who ruled in Heshbon, and said to him, let us pass through your country to our own place. Sihon, however, did not trust the Israelis to pass through his territory. He mustered his troops and encamped at the Jahaz and fought with the Israelis. Then the Lord, the God of Israel, gave Sihon and the whole army into the Israelis' hands, and they defeated them. Israel took over all the land of the Ammonites who lived in that country, capturing all of it, from Arnon to the Jabbok. and from the desert to the Jordan. Now, since the Lord, the God of Israel, has driven the Ammonites out before his people Israel, what right have you to take it over? Will you not take what your God, Chemosh, gives you? Likewise, whatever the Lord our God has given us, we will possess it. Are you any better than Batak, son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever quarrel with Israel or fight with them? For 300 years, Israel has occupied Heshbon, Ardur, the surrounding settlements, and all the towns along the Arnon. Why didn't you retake them during that time? I haven't wronged you, but you are doing me wrong by waging war against me. Let the Lord be the judge. He can decide the dispute this day between the Israelites and the Amorites. The king of the Ammonites, however, paid no attention to the messages Jephthah sent him. Then the Spirit of the Lord came on Jephthah. He crossed the Gilead and Manasseh, passed through Mizpah and Gilead, and from there he advanced against the Ammonites. And Jephthah made a vow to the Lord, if you give the Ammonites into my hands, whatever comes out of my door at my house to meet me when I return in triumph from the Ammonites, well, that will be the Lord's, and I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering. Then Jephthah went over to fight the Ammonites, and the Lord gave them into his hand. He devastated 20 towns from Aurora to the vicinity of Minnith, as far as Abel Keramim. Thus Israel surrounded and subdued Ammon. Then Jephthah returned to his home in Mizpah. Who should come out to meet him but his daughter, dancing to the sound of timbrels? She was an only child. Except for her, he had neither son nor daughter. When he saw her, he tore his clothes and he cried, "Oh, my daughter, you have brought me down, and I am devastated. I have made a vow to the Lord that I cannot break." "My father," she replied, "you have given your word to the Lord. Do to me as you promised. Now that the Lord has avenged you on your enemies, the Ammonites. But grant me this one request," she said. "Give me 2 months to roam the hills and weep with my friends, because I will never marry." "You may go," he said, and he let her go for 2 months. She and her friends went into the hills and wept, because she would never marry. After the 2 months, she returned to her father, and he did to her as he had vowed, and she was a virgin. From this comes the Israelite tradition that each year the young women of Israel go out for 4 days to commemorate the daughter of Jephthah, the Gileadite. So that's the story. Now next week, we'll start looking into the elements surrounding this story. Remember, each Wednesday will be another episode. I anticipate that this will probably be a 4-part lesson. Until then, remember, we're all in this together, and I'm pulling for you.